nine-time All-Pro Bobby Wagner parted ways with the LA Rams yesterday. The Rams need more cap space. Wagner wants to win. He will now be a part of this year's free agent class. I throw down the Joker pool stick in the middle of the table for you two to go at it. Bobby, you start off as Bobby Wagner and the Cowboys were connected last year, right?
Yeah, they were. Bobby Wagner actually gave interviews this offseason. I think once the season began, he was doing like podcast interviews. I think he told Richard Sherman was in one of them that he wanted to go to Dallas. He's like, well, I wanted to go to Dallas. That's where I wanted to go. Just never worked out. Money didn't work out. Things like that. I think that, so last year he still plays at a very high level.
90.7 PFF, RJ Chop.
And my grade was 93.
That is the highest in the league, by the way, of linebackers.
Oh, wow.
He was elite last year.
So his 90.7 was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was Fred Warner at 85.7. So, nobody was even in the ballpark.
Wow.
No, he was one of the lone, like, really bright spots for the Rams last year. And so, I think that he's
32 years old.
He's shown he can play at a high level if he's willing. He's another year into this. He just got paid a little bit. If he's willing to play on a 1-year deal or maybe a 2-year deal, yeah, I think Dallas should have interest.
No.
Terrible take by you.
What are they going to pay him? $18 million a year?
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think that if you are able to get him 2 years, 20 or something like that, then yeah, give it to me. Give it to me, baby.
If you're paying, okay. So look, and this is, Archer was talking about this in the article yesterday. They want to pay for the running back and stopping the run. Like, what year are we in, guys? Like Bobby Wagner was a really, really good player last year. He was a great player. The defense for the Rams got worse than the year before.
That's not him, though.
No, but you had the best linebacker in the game. You would think that would help your defense. No, it didn't. It made it worse. That wasn't him, but that's the point. The point is that no defensive player individually is worth paying because they don't impact the game the way that we think they do. So I'm out.
Did LVE impact the game last year for them when he went out?
Which game?
The 3 games at the end of the season that he missed where they were starting to get just bullied when he went out. They couldn't communicate on defense. They were missing assignments.
That's in the middle of the year. I think it's harder to replace guys mid-season than it is off-season, obviously, because you can't replace somebody in the middle of the year.
But regardless, it's the same question like that Shan Lee had throughout his career. Shan Lee, whether he missed the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, the end of the season, they fell apart. Bobby Wagner can be a stabilizer at linebacker. They look, regardless of linebacker is not running back. I know how everybody feels about running back. You can maybe say it's the defense's running back if you like, but it's still more important, I think, on a snap-by-snap basis. The linebacker oftentimes is orchestrating. You'll see Micah and Leighton do this. They will literally move defensive linemen like you are not in the right spot. They are oftentimes the quarterback of the defense. So the linebacker is very important in terms of making sure everybody is where they are, filling gaps. Obviously it's not just about the run there. There's linebackers that end up in coverage a lot these days. If you can go get one who is as good as Bobby Wagner, and again, you've got to spend this money to a point. You're going to have to spend that sort of money on some free agent. Why not spend it on somebody who is really, really good, has a good relationship with Dan Quinn, and can immediately solidify a unit that they have a lot of questions about?
What if that money was spent towards Bobby Wagner or Odell Beckham for you, Bobby?
Wagner. I don't even think about it. Wagner.
I thought you were all in on Odell.
I was in on
year.
Odell Beckham if he could play then.
Okay.
If he could play then.
2 months later, he can't play?
Because that's what it was. Because
it was a value of 2 years.
It was 2 years, but it was also get me somebody now. There's nobody you can add that can make a difference with a receiving core that you mismanaged right now at that time in December other than Odell Beckham if he could play. He couldn't play. It didn't end up mattering. But the idea was because, and I think we talked about it on the show at the time, if you don't do it now, I didn't want to do it because come April, there will be cheaper, more efficient options that you can find than Odell Beckham. But what you were paying a premium for. You can upgrade right now when there is literally, it's an oasis in the desert. There is literally no one else you can add that will make that impact.
I'm fine for Wagner, short term, cheaper deal. I'm not talking Stephen Jones cheap, because that's insulting to everyone on the market. And as Michael Galkin pointed out, you got 3 impending free agents at the position, right? You got Van Der Esch, you got Anthony Barr, you got Luke Gifford. Anthony Barr and Gifford can go. If you don't bring in Bobby Wagner, go ahead, re-sign Van Der Esch. If you bring in Bobby Wagner, then go ahead, bye-bye Van Der Esch. You know, I care about the leadership and the intangible stuff more than RJ does. So I know he's 34. Oh, I'm sorry, he's 32. But the season he had last year, all the other stuff that he brings, I'm good for it. I'm in on it.
He was very good. Like, what's the Van Der Esch deal going to be? Like, how much? Like, what's the difference? $4 million a year?
I can't imagine he signs for more than 1 year, $5 million. Okay, that's just a guess.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you know, you take the delta between his deal and Wagner's, and that's what you're paying him. I mean, that's the excess that you would throw his way. It's just, you know, how much is he? If he's $10 million a year and Van Der Esch is $5 million, is he twice as good as Van Der Esch?
Yes.
He's twice as good.
Yes.
But I also have to throw in the games played. Bobby Wagner doesn't miss any games. At least he has not missed games. So that's a huge question for Van Der Esch. Yes, if all things were equal, you can talk me into Leighton at half the price, but am I going to get half the games?
Yeah. Does he rush the quarterback? No. And that's a problem. I can't pay somebody who doesn't rush the quarterback.
What's the biggest mismatch in football? You've said it the last month. What's the biggest mismatch in football?
It's tight end.
It's the tight ends who could. Bobby Wagner can cover tight ends. Bobby Wagner can stop the run. Bobby Wagner can take away. Bobby Wagner makes a massive difference in 2 games a year against Philadelphia.
Would linebacker for you, RJ, be the least amount of financial resources you would put towards any group on your football team?
No.
What would be?
Well, running back. Probably defensive tackle and linebacker.
Which defensive tackle? One technique, or the run stop and one technique, or the
anything that deals with the running game?
Okay, let's say then you lock yourself in for 2 years to Bobby Wagner. Let's say it's 2 years, $20 million fully guaranteed. Okay, so there's no getting out of it. You are locked in at that price. Mm-hmm. Would you rather do that 2 years, 20, or would you rather just 1 year franchise tag Pollard and then walk away?
Oh, I'd rather do Bobby Wagner at the 2 for 20 than
so you'd rather lock in at the same cost for 2 years on Wagner than just 1 year on Pollard.
Correct.
Okay.
Fan text, Tolos, truckrock.com text line, in or out at 877-881-1053. I feel like this offseason, there's going to be a lot of ins when it comes to being aggressive and adding what?
Now that 903 just made me stop. 903 goes, Bobby's okay with y'all using PFF now that it works for his narrative. I literally made a joke about PFF as soon as they quoted the number. I was not using PFF as the reason.
Yeah, that's one. Other one, Choppy, stop making excuses. Not at $10 million a year for a linebacker, can't rush the quarterback. Was he good because he had Aaron Donald in front? No. Do you think he will want crazy money?
Why would that be a no to having Aaron Donald in front of you factoring in?
Well, Aaron Donald didn't play as well this year as he has in years past, and Aaron Donald is not like some space-eating, keep him clean, run and chase linebacker. That's not what he does.
But I'm waiting for. He was a 90.5 Aaron Donald on Pro Football Focus for what it's worth.
I said I'm going to work on a contract example that I could show you during the break, and I've tagged you both on Twitter in this structure so that you can take a look at it. And I told Chop, I said, what if I can get you Bobby Wagner here and his cap charge for the next 2 years will just be $6 million each year? Are you down with Bobby Wagner at a $6 million cap charge? And Chop went, yeah. So we're going to show you how I got to this point.
$6 million cap charge is nothing. Now, my question is,
Ooh.
A,
what was that?
A little prepubescent there.
A, how? And B, like, obviously, you're going to have cap responsibilities beyond 2 years. There's no way you could pay him $20 million over 2 years and only pay $12 million in cap charges throughout the life of the deal.
That's true, but I can save you money just by releasing him in the 3rd year, and you free up the cap space.
You sound like Bill May right now.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. All right. So Bobby Wagner in Los Angeles last year signed for 5 years and $50 million. Okay, but he got $10 million guaranteed at signing, but it was only 20, but it was 20 million total guaranteed. So he played 1 year basically for the Rams and got his 10 million cleared out. Over the next 2 years, this was originally supposed to be a deal that was probably easy to get out of after the third year. They went ahead and cut it after the first. But Wagner over the next 2 years was supposed to make about $18.5 million. He's missing out on about $18.5 million that he thought he was likely going to get. So Cowboys come to him and say, hey, look, we'll give you the remainder of that deal that you had signed. 4 years, $40 million, and we'll structure it so that you are guaranteed $20 million over the next 2 years. You expected 18.5 that you thought you were going to get through 3 years. We'll give you 20. And here's how we kind of break down the charges.
All right.
4 years.
We need choppy involvement somehow because the fan cam idea is not working.
4 years, $40 million, $20 million guaranteed. That's the first 2 years of the deal. A $16 million signing bonus. So we're going to explain what each of these things do. The signing bonus is evenly spread out. This is how you get a cap hit. When guys are like, well, how much money do you make? Well, their salary is not the same as their cap hit. Why is that? This is one of the big factors for a cap hit. When you get a signing bonus, that is spread out as a cap charge evenly over the life of the contract. So if you sign a 5-year deal and you get a $10 million signing bonus, $2 million is charged each year on the deal. So that's how you get the cap number. The cap hit is going to be your salary plus any of those prorated bonus charges. Okay? Dead money is the amount of guaranteed money that still has left to be charged on the cap. So when you got guaranteed money, this is, well, you haven't taken the charge for this yet. And then the pre-June 1 release is the player's cap hit minus the dead money. So if the cap hit is larger than the dead money, that is always a player that's a candidate to be released. So the way you structure this is you make him a 4-year deal that averages out to $40 million. With a $16 million signing bonus, you now only have to give him a $2 million salary in 2023 and 2024. That's $4 million right there guaranteed. That's the 2 years are guaranteed salaries. And you have the signing bonus. That's 2 years, 20. The third year and the fourth year are $10 million years, but they're not guaranteed at all.
Yeah.
The Cowboys would cut.
Right.
Because it's a $16 million signing bonus, you'd have $4 million signing bonuses spread out over the 4 years. So in 2023, a $2 million salary plus a $4 million prorated bonus gives him a cap hit of $6 million. Same thing next year. 2025 would then be a $10 million salary with a $4 million signing bonus. Okay. They don't want to pay that. So they would cut him there. Because his cap hit is $14 million and you still have 2 years of the signing bonus that hasn't hit, you would have an $8 million amount of dead money. So cutting him after the second year would have $8 million of dead money, but you'd save $6 million off your cap.
All right, to summarize, from Bobby Belt on the fan cam with the graph, 4 years, $40 million, 20 guaranteed, $16 million signing bonus. Bobby Wagner is a Dallas Cowboy.
So see, this is funny math.
I don't want
to not funny math.
I don't want to get too much more. I appreciate all your work.
Yeah. Yes,
you're smart. I don't want to get.
I know it's heady.
It's very mathy. I don't want to keep going into it.
My issue is okay. So, but just real quick, I do not want to pay for a player that isn't on the team. That's the idea is to get away from that.
You're really not though.
But you are, because if you have cap responsibilities and liabilities for this player beyond their tenure here, you got to stay away from that. I'm not bringing it. If you told me that I got Bobby Wagner for 2 years and $6 million cap charge for those 2 years and then nothing after that, I'm in. I don't want to pay an aging linebacker anyway.
So your mission has failed.
No, the mission is still correct. He's just now upset that he was so easily flipped, and so now he's got to become a character to change it.
You know, $6 million a year.
I know. I said if I could get you Bobby Wagner for the next 2 years at just a $6 million cap hit, are you in? And then I said in the third year you free up $6 million off your cap. He's cut. It's an easy cut. It's an easy $6 million that you freed up. And when you consider the growth of the cap, which we're at about a $16 million per year clip, it's $224 right now. If you continue that, you're talking about $240 in 2024, and then by the time you release him, it is a $255 million cap where you're freeing up an extra $6 million and holding a small charger. You could post June 1 release him, and then you're only holding $4 on the cap if you want. But
look, there's an easier way to get good than continuing to try to have to get good players in here. It's just find Patrick Mahomes. It's a much easier way to get good.
Good rebuttal.
All right.
What else you got?
What a thought. Have you thought about being a GM?
Yeah, I have. You know what? I'd be the best GM in the world. You know why? Because I would actually use positional value to draft players.